Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're diving into code review and refactoring.
Yeah, and specifically how AI, like GitHub Copilot, can maybe lend a hand with those.
Right. We've looked at some material on this and, well, the mission is to really get a handle on what these practices are, why they're so important for, healthy software projects,
hmm
and how a tool like Copilot actually fits in. Can it make your development work smoother, more efficient?
That's the big question.
So let's jump right in. What exactly are code review and refactoring? Let's start there.
It's funny, they're so fundamental, aren't they? But sometimes they feel like, well, chores when you're busy building things.
Totally.
So code review, at its heart, it's just getting another developer, another person to look at your code.
Before it goes into the main project.
Exactly, before it gets merged in. It's like getting a second pair of eyes. You've stared at it for hours, you know the intent.
But you miss things.
Yeah, someone fresh can spot maybe logical errors, potential bugs, or just bits that are unclear or maybe inconsistent with how the rest of the code looks.
Okay, so it's a quality check, but maybe also about sharing knowledge, learning.
Absolutely. It catches issues, yes, definitely improves quality. And it helps keep things consistent, which is huge in a team.
Makes sense.
Now, refactoring, that's related, but different.
Okay, how's it different? Is that about fixing bugs?
Not really, not directly. Refactoring is about restructuring code that already exists, but without changing what it actually does.
Mhm.
Its external behavior stays the same.
Ah,
Think of it less like fixing something broken and more like, I don't know, tidying up a really messy workspace or reorganizing your garage.
okay, I like that analogy. The garage one works.
Yeah, you're not adding new tools or anything. You're just making the existing ones easier to find, easier to use, making the whole space more efficient.
So you're making the code itself easier to work with down the line, easier to maintain.
Exactly. And maintaining clean, understandable code, well, it's absolutely crucial, especially for any project that's meant to last, longer than a few weeks.
Right.
It directly affects how quickly you can add new features, how easy it is to fix bugs later, how fast a new person can get up to speed.
Yeah, and let's be honest, code bases can get messy fast. Deadlines, pressure.
Oh, for sure. You cut a corner here, maybe take a shortcut there, and suddenly that nice structure you started with is, well, looking a bit like spaghetti. Cruft accumulates.
Totally relatable.
Huh.
You've got code that works, technically, but you just know it could be cleaner, better organized.
Mm-hmm.
So is this where something like GitHub Copilot comes into the picture? Because I mostly hear about it helping write new code.
Yeah, that's definitely what gets a lot of the attention. But the material we looked at really highlights how useful Copilot can be for the code you already have.
Okay.
Specifically for making these processes, review and refactoring, smoother, more efficient.
Interesting. So how does it help there? Can it look at my slightly messy code and tell me what to fix?
Pretty much, yeah. One way is using Copilot Chat. You can have it open right there next to your code in the editor.
Okay.
So let's say you're looking at a complex function, maybe in a UI component or something, and you think, this could probably be better.
Yeah.
You can literally just select that code block and ask Copilot, maybe type something like, how can I improve this code?
And it just figures it out. Does
Yes.
it give vague ideas or actual usable stuff?
It analyzes it and gives you pretty concrete suggestions. The material mentioned, you can often just apply them directly, like with a click.
Wow.
Or, and this is cool, if you're wondering why it suggested something like, why use this pattern instead of that one, you can ask it to explain step by step.
Okay, that's more than just help. That's like a mini lesson right there.
Exactly. It's a learning opportunity, too.
So it can break down the reasoning. What about those bigger reorganizations you mentioned? The refactoring.
Yeah, you can get pretty specific with refactoring requests, too. A classic example might be you've got data fetching logic inside a component.
Right, happens all the time.
You could ask Copilot, how can I extract the data fetching logic here into a custom hook? That's a common pattern to make code reusable.
And Copilot understands that.
Apparently so. It analyzes the component, figures out the logic, and can actually provide the refactored code. Here's the new hook, and here's how the component uses it now.
Whoa, okay, so it gives you the actual code to make that change.
Yeah.
That seems really powerful.
It does.
Can it spot simpler things too, like maybe repeated code, redundancy?
Absolutely. You can ask it to scan a file and point out if there's redundant code, duplicated logic that could be put into a single function.
Oh, yeah.
It can identify those spots and suggest how to clean it up, maybe even give you the corrected version. Finding that stuff manually, especially in big files, can be a real pain.
I can see that saving a lot of time. Okay, so redundancy, extracting logic.
Yeah.
What other kinds of improvements does it tend to suggest?
Well, the suggestions seem to cover a pretty good range of common code quality things. Performance improvements, maybe making functions more focused, more modular.
Mm.
It might suggest clearer variable names for consistency, or help add comments to make things more readable, or even update older syntax to newer, more modern ways of writing things.
So it's like having a little automated helper just looking for ways to polish things up.
Kind of, yeah, like an automated pair programmer almost.
Okay, so that's Copilot in your editor, helping as you work. But the material also mentions something about Copilot doing code review on github.com itself. Is that separate?
Yes, that's a distinct feature. It happens on the GitHub website, specifically when you're looking at a pull request, a PR.
Right.
When you've made your changes and opened a PR, you actually have an option now to request a review from Copilot.
Oh, interesting. So I open my PR, and there's like a button, Get Copilot Review.
Something like that, yeah. You trigger it, and Copilot analyzes the changes in that specific PR. Then its feedback, comments, suggestions, they appear right there on the PR page.
Just like comments from a teammate would.
Exactly. Pointing out potential issues, suggesting improvements.
That sounds super convenient. But wait, does Copilot's review then, like, count? If my project requires, say, 2 human reviews before merging, does the Copilot one count as one? Does it block merging if it finds things?
That's a really, really important point the material stressed. Copilot always leaves what's called a comment review.
Okay.
It does not give an approve or a request changes review. Those are the types that usually gate merging.
Ah, got it. So it doesn't fulfill any mandatory review requirements.
Correct, and it won't block you from merging your changes.
So it's not meant to replace your team's review process at all. It's more like a pre-check.
Precisely. That seems to be the idea. You get this initial automated pass from Copilot before you ask your human colleagues to spend their time on it.
Right.
You can address the stuff Copilot finds, maybe simple style issues, typos, obvious redundancies it catches. Clean those up first.
And then you present a more polished PR to your team. Save some time dealing with the easy stuff.
Exactly. Helps you catch that low-hanging fruit proactively.
That makes a ton of sense. Okay, and how do you actually use those suggestions when Copilot leaves comments on the PR page?
So within Copilot's comments on the PR, you'll often see the suggested code change. You can usually accept these one by one.
Right there in the comment.
Yeah. There's typically a button or menu item like Commit Suggestion. Clicking that creates a new commit on your branch with just that specific change applied.
Neat.
The material also mentioned an Add to Bash option. So if Copilot gives you, say, 5 suggestions you like, you can batch them together and accept them all in a single commit.
Oh, that's handy too. Okay, so if we look at all this, the chat help in the editor, the PR reviews on GitHub, it feels like Copilot's really trying to cover a lot of ground for code quality and maintenance.
It does seem that way.
Can we sort of group its capabilities here, maybe into a few key themes?
Yeah, I think we can. Based on what we've discussed, it looks like Copilot helps with review and refactoring through things like, first, automated suggestions. Just actively finding potential improvements or issues.
Right.
Then, consistency checks, helping you stick to standards, maybe flagging weird naming or structures.
Makes sense.
Also, refactoring assistance, giving you actual help, maybe even code, to simplify or restructure things.
Like the hook example.
Exactly. Then there's error detection spotting potential bugs or maybe inefficient code.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, let's not forget comment support, helping generate comments to make the code easier for others or even your future self to understand.
That list. Wow, it covers some of the most tedious, sometimes mind-numbing parts of keeping code healthy.
It really does.
But it almost sounds too good to be true. Like it's doing the job for you. Are there catches, limitations?
Yes. And this is the absolutely crucial takeaway. The material really hammered this point home. You are the pilot.
Okay, you are the pilot.
I know.
I like that. What does it mean in practice? What are Copilot's blind spots?
Well, like any AI, especially these large language models, it relies massively on the context it's given. So if your code is super complex or maybe poorly structured to begin with, or uses very unique patterns it hasn't seen much in training, Copilot suggestions might be less helpful, maybe off base, maybe even incorrect.
Okay.
And critically, it doesn't understand the deep why behind your code. It doesn't know the specific business rules or the unwritten conventions of your team or the history of that particular file.
So it's definitely not a replacement for actual human understanding and review.
No, absolutely not. The source was crystal clear on this. You must always, always double check the suggestions Copilot makes.
And why is that check so vital? It's not just about catching if Copilot made a technical mistake, is it?
It's much broader than that. You need to make sure the change Copilot suggests actually fits. Does it align with the project's overall architecture? Does it follow your team's specific style guide? Does it maybe break some subtle assumption elsewhere in the code that only a human who knows the system would catch?
Or organizational policies, security rules.
Exactly. Copilot might give you a suggestion that's technically sound based on general programming patterns, but maybe it violates a company security policy or it goes against a specific design decision made for performance reasons months ago.
Right.
The human developer brings that critical oversight, that contextual awareness.
Okay, so it's about using the tool smartly, augmenting your own skills, not outsourcing your judgment.
Precisely. Let it handle some of the pattern spotting, the boilerplate stuff, maybe the routine checks. That frees you up for the higher level thinking, the architectural decisions, the understanding of intent.
So wrapping this up then, GitHub Copilot seems like a genuinely valuable assistant for these, often unglamorous but essential tasks, code review and refactoring.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. By helping find inconsistencies, spotting potential problems, suggesting improvements, suggesting restructurings, the goal is clearly to help you maintain cleaner code.
Save time, maybe reduce errors slipping through.
Right. Less time spent on kind of the code janitor work, maybe?
And ultimately, if it helps automate or assist with some of that maintenance grind, the idea is developers like you can focus more energy on the creative side, designing and building great new features.
That seems to be the promise. Spend less time tidying, more time building.
Which does lead to a really interesting final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. If these powerful AI tools like Copilot get better and better at handling tasks like finding redundant code or suggesting naming conventions, or even proposing common refactoring patterns, what does that mean for the skills you need to focus on developing?
Mm.
How do you best leverage these assistants while making sure you're still building those uniquely human skills like deep system understanding, architectural vision, grasping the business context, maintaining that critical oversight that the AI just doesn't have? It's a new kind of balance we're all going to have to figure out, isn't it?